Hey guys, welcome to the video. You probably saw the thumbnail and clicked on this trying to figure out what the heck is going on with the baking soda, the citric acid, and the CO2. Well, I thought the same thing. And today we're going to be setting up and I guess kind of reviewing an Amazon cheapo system for a CO2 generator. I picked this one because it's got the twin gauges, and I have not opened this thing yet. I have no idea what it looks like yet inside, but a little bit smaller than I thought. I got the 4 liter, I do believe 4 liter size for those of you that know CO2. But what we're going to be reviewing today is the ZRDR Aqua R400X. Again, I will put a link in the description for this product here. But we're going to unbox this thing, kind of see what we got going on, and then put it together. All right. Don't mind my airline over here. I bought that airline. Let's see if I can do this one-handed here. I promise you I have not opened this thing up yet. User manual. Now I will tell you that I have looked on the old interwebs and the YouTube, and I have obviously looked at this system or these types of systems, so I kind of have an idea of what's going on. I'm not a complete newbie. But we've got, looks like our regulator here. Now this is why I chose this unit over some of the other ones. Wow, it's heavier than I thought, the regulator. This is a twin gauge regulator, so you have your outgoing PSI and your tank PSI, and I liked that. Heavier than I thought, so we'll see how it goes with the needle valve. The biggest complaint with these cheap kits was the needle valves don't stay set properly, but we've got that. Looks like some O-rings. Some suction cups for your lines. I'm assuming this is for all of the CO2 lines. And this guy, this is the CO2 diffuser. It's just a clay disc. Now they say soak this in water before you use them, otherwise the bubbles are too big. So I'm going to get this soaking in water while we put this together. All right, diffuser is soaking in water. All right, we got a little syringe here. I'm assuming that's for the bubble counter. Here's the solenoid and bubble counter. Okie dokie. What else we got here? I don't know what this is. It's like, oh, this is the filter. This probably goes in here. Sorry, it's so close to the camera. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Yeah, this must be the O2 filter that goes here on the regulator. Yeah. All right. Check valve. Little check valve so we don't get water in the regulator. What else we got in here? Oh. In case this fits over your aquarium, a little U to put like over the edge of the aquarium. I think ours is too big. Let's go check. Here's the tank it's going in though, and as you see, it's not going to fit. That's what I figured. Now I could probably bend that out and massage it, but not worth it. We'll just run the airline over. It'll be fine. All right, and oh look, a second diffuser disc. That's kind of nice. That's nice. They give you a backup diffuser disc in case yours gets dirty, you need to clean it, or it breaks or something. That's cool. This is the stand that it sits in. Yep, 4 liter is what I bought. A mini funnel to fill. I don't know what's in here. Oh, and they give you, I think, is this CO2 line? It is CO2 line. Oh, all right, well, they gave me line. I don't know if it's just regular air line, it feels, or is it CO2 line? CO2 line is supposed to be stiffer. I don't know, but I'm going to assume it's just regular air line. They say don't use air line. You really should use CO2 line because it can like crack and lose, you know, all your pressure. I don't care. I'm going to try out the supplied line here. But I guess I didn't need to buy my Aqua line here. That's okay. And the coup de grace is the tank itself. You know what's cool? I like this. If you look right on the top here, it says that the raw material ratio is 600 grams citric acid, and then wherever it is, 600 grams baking soda, and then water 900 milliliter. So that's in the instructions, but I think it's pretty cool that they put it right on top of the bottle so you don't have to try and remember all the time, like, how much am I supposed to put in there? I like that touch. That's nice. Let's see what's in this little box. Oh, the power cord. Duh. All right, and your power supply. And one collapsible mini funnel to put all your ingredients in. I'll probably use just a regular funnel. Well, that's a bigger hole though. I'll use this one. All right, I'm gonna try and do everything up on this view here. Hopefully you can see. I just kind of looked and saw this is an extra filter. I like that they give you extra stuff. I was gonna stick it in here, but I think it's an extra, it's a backup looking in this hole here. So extra parts. O-rings, I think same thing, because the regulator's got an O-ring on it, so I think extra O-rings. So that's cool, man. They send you extra parts. And this guy just kind of goes right on there. Which we're not going to tighten down, of course, because we've got to get our stuff in there. I happen to have a handy scale here that will read grams. And I think if I read some tips, they said put the citric acid in first, because it is more highly reactive than the baking soda, and then put a baking soda cap on it, and that can kind of help you out. We're also going to do some ice cubes instead of water, which is what they said, to prevent this thing from just fizzing out before you can get your regulator on. So we're going to try all those tips I saw on YouTube. Thank you, creators, for that kind of stuff. Let's tear this up here. It's going to be 600 grams of baking soda and 600 grams of citric acid. So we'll start with the citric acid. All right, there's 600 grams of citric acid. All right, 600 grams baking soda. Whew, dusty little process. As long as I get this cleaned up before the wife comes home, we'll be all right. Right, sweetie? All right. Disperse that back and forth a little bit. Now, the water part. So guys were saying use ice cubes and then let the ice cubes melt. And it takes longer to build up your CO2, but you won't start the reaction right away and have this thing just detonate on you, essentially. I mean, just make a foamy mess, right? Which I don't want to do. So I think I'm going to try and get 900 milliliters. Well, how are you going to measure 900 milliliters of ice cubes? I would have to know how much 900 milliliters in water is, and then measure 900 milliliters in water and make ice. Crap. So this is going to suck. Maybe we'll just use ice water. We'll chill the ice, we'll chill the water down as best as we can and use that as our measurement. That probably sounds good. At least, hopefully we can start slowing the reaction down, because apparently this reaction gets hot. So if you start with warm water, it's faster. I don't know. We'll see. Just have to be quick. All right, so a little Google here shows us that 900 milliliters is 3.804 cups, but I went and broke it down to ounces because my little cup here measures in ounces, and it is 30.43, so we'll call it 30 and a half US fluid ounces. Okay, we got our water chilling here. While we're waiting for that, let's get the filter on our regulator. Regulator, it's got a plus and a minus on here. So we're full loose. So full loose should be closed, I think. And needle valve off is all the way in. So we'll put the needle valve all the way, just barely snug. I know not to crank on needle valves. So it's nice, man. They got the little arrows and stuff here to tell you on, off. Set up pretty good. Take our filter. I guess we just screw our filter in. I don't know if this other filter is supposed to go in there, like at the top, like in this cavity here. I don't know. If you guys know, then let me know. Down in the comment, let me know. because this filter doesn't really, it doesn't seat down in there like it would go in there, you know? So I think it's just a backup. We're gonna roll it this way, and let's just hope that's correct. Now, I also read that people said actually pour it slow. Your instinct is to pour it in real quick, but they said pour it in slow so as not to disturb too much of the mixture, the powder mixture in there, and you should be good to go. So we got icy water here. It's as cold as it's gonna get. We did a slow pour. I don't have anything shooting out yet, so that's good. All right, I'm gonna get the rest of it in there. All right, here's some sizzling now. Gonna tip it up again. And we'll turn this. I don't know how far, but I'm guessing maybe centered with the label is tight enough. I know not to over tighten them, but there's not much in the instructions here other than it just says add the citric acid, add the water at a 45-degree angle, quickly screw the valve on, tighten it, and wait for the reaction. Pressure should be 430 psi at the end of the reaction. So 430 psi at the end of the reaction, then install solenoid valve, then install bubble counter. So I mean, the instructions are just kind of really vague. Snug is better than Guten tight. I mean, I guess if it starts leaking, it starts leaking. Our can is frosting up here. Oh, some YouTubers did say to kind of speed it up, give it a little swirl. Don't shake it, but give it a little swirl. All right, it's getting cold, so I'm gonna set it here on this foam. I don't think it would do anything to the table if it gets cold, but so we got that there. All right, she's going. We'll see if the pressure rises. All right, they had me freaked out. All the YouTube videos were like, you better hurry up and get that regulator on there quick, because if you don't, it's gonna go spraying and spewing all over the place, and it's gonna foam out over the top of the canister and blah, 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 blah. Well, maybe because I used really cold ice water, it didn't do that, but you know, and again, thanks to the YouTuber tips for that. Okay, guys, I think we've got enough pressure, barely, just to kind of test the system. This probably won't focus for you, but we are just at the top of the red, so we are building pressure. So now, just for the sake of the video, I think we're gonna start putting the rest of it together. So we're gonna have our solenoid goes on next. This is our on-off solenoid. So already a little O-ring right down there. So we're gonna just screw this guy on there. Now this pressure, by the way, it says it can take up to 10 hours to get pressure, but for a couple of months worth of CO2, not too bad. I'm guessing this just kind of goes on finger tight here. So there's no wrench. It's not slotted for a wrench. It's not like a bolt style. So I'm guessing just there's gonna be lighter pressure coming out of here, so that's probably good there. And then we need to put our bubble counter on there. There's another O-ring on here, so we'll put our bubble counter on there. Figured out what the syringe is for. This is a check valve right in there to push water into your bubble counter. And then really that's it, guys. All we got to do is put our check valve near our diffuser. All right, she's set up. Wonder if we got any air. Let's see if we get any pressure over here if I dial this up. Yeah, we got pressure. We could probably start using this thing. All right, now it says the output pressure adjusts between 29 and 58 psi. Well, it's really hard to see on this gauge because it just has a 50 mark. So what I'm gonna do is give it just a little more oomph to the line before 50. And that should be enough. Very slow adjustment here. All right, well, heck, let's go over to the aquarium and let's set it up. All right, here's our tank that we're putting it in. This is our bass tank. We got our baby bass right here. It's a largemouth bass. So we're gonna get a nice array of plants growing here with this CO2. So I guess first step here is let's get it positioned in the cabinet. Take our power supply out. I did remove our diffuser from the water bath that it was soaking in. So we've got that over here. And I apologize for the lighting. This tank is in our bedroom and it's just a ceiling fan light. It doesn't have much light. We've got a timer because we need to turn our CO2 on when our lights come on. So we've got a timer here. But our bottle is going to sit right in here. Again, I apologize for the lighting. I know the lighting sucks in here. Let me see if I can just get the camera set up. Remember when you're transporting this thing to keep it upright. This is not a pressurized all gas CO2 cylinder or liquid CO2 where you can tip the bottle around here. You want to make sure that it is staying upright at all times. All right, we got that set up. Let me try and get a flashlight for you guys, give you some better light. All right, that might be better lighting for you, or it could be too bright. I don't know. I am not a El Professional YouTuber yet, so I don't have all the fancy gear and the fancy cameras with the lights and stuff on them. So click. So we should have pressure or air, CO2. All right, I heard it. Cool, so we're good there. Check. Oh, I got a knock on the door. I'll be back. All right, that knock at the door was perfect timing because that was the post guy with our FluVol drop checker fluid. This is our CO2 check fluid, which we'll get into in a second. All right, back to setting this thing up. All right, so back to this here. We got our air line on. I guess we would fill our bubble checker next. So we just stuff this in here with some mild pressure and squirt. Look at that. Little check valve opens and we can get our, oh boy, look at this. We're leaking CO2 already. Huh. Drop checker works. We were leaking CO2 the whole time. Let me get a little more water. Bubble counter, not drop checker, bubble counter. Bubble counter's working. This little valve's pretty sensitive. A little more water in there, not too much. There we go. That should be good enough. I don't know if it evaporates over time, but I'm going to turn this down a little more. So there's our bubble counter bubbling away. We are making CO2, guys. That's pretty neat. All right, now I've heard that these valves are very crappy on these bad kits, these needle valves, but I've got mine cinched up there, and this particular kit I don't have any issue with. They say it's very hard. You're supposed to get approximately 1 bubble per second, so like 1001, 1002, so we can go a little faster. Just a real minor adjustment on this. All right, 1001, 1002, that's a little fast. We'll just give it a little tight. Well, maybe they're right. They're hard to get adjusted, but I think any needle valve trying to get an exact bubble count is going to be hard. All right, I've got it adjusted here pretty good at about 1 bubble per second. I would rather have it a little fast to get started. So look at that, man. We are making CO2. That is pretty cool. I already said that, but that's pretty neat stuff, man. Let's get the rest of this hooked up. Okay, so I forgot to turn the camera back on while I was doing this next part. But that's all right. I talk too much anyway. You will get the idea. This is pretty simple stuff. That's where I cut the line. We put our diffuser on. I checked again where the depth is going to be, and then I came up a little bit higher and I put the check valve in. So the check valve's hanging straight up and down when it's behind the tank there. That way, if any water tries to siphon its way down here, it'll hit that check valve and it won't go into your regulator. Now, I will make a note on this check valve. I tested it first with my mouth, and I had to blow pretty hard to get this thing to initially pop its seal from manufacturing. So double check that before you just hook it up, because it would take, I don't know. I mean, the CO2 could blow it like I did with my mouth eventually, but just check and make sure it's functioning properly before you hook it up. As I was getting ready to set up, I did notice that, yes, my bubble counter has slowed down. So I guess that's what these guys are talking about when they're saying like these needle valves on these cheap kits are not really great. But that's okay, man. You know, for as cheap as it was, I think I paid 80 bucks. I'll double check and let you know, put this price up on the screen. It's not a bad deal in my mind so far. Okay, so I've got things positioned so that when you're sitting kind of center of the tank or even off a little bit, you can't see that CO2 line. If we come around here, you can see our diffuser is right there, and we just got our line coming up and around and out the top here. So little suction cups, they seem to work pretty good in the kit. No complaints there. Now what we got to do is wait for our check valve back here to fill up, or whatever pressure it takes to fill that up before we get bubbles. In the meantime, we're going to set up our drop checker, which is pretty simple. You just take this fluid and you put it in this little bulb. So you turn it upside down, fill the bulb up, turn it back over, and the air catches, makes an air pocket in here, and the fluid will change color to let you know how much CO2 you got in your tank. And see, just put a little fluid in there, then you rotate this guy over, and there you go. So we're going to put this in the tank. I'm going to put it on the right hand side here since the CO2 is on the left. We want to see what the CO2 level is over here, and that'll tell us the dispersion throughout the whole tank. Alright, so we got our drop checker in right there. So what we're looking for is green. It's blue now, green is good, yellow is bad. So yellow is too much CO2. So we don't have much CO2 for the plants in here right now, but it takes 2 hours for this thing to adjust. Do we have any bubbles? We don't have any diffuser bubbles yet. Alright, I'm going to work on a couple of things here. Maybe we'll temporarily turn our bubble counter up, see if we can just get the diffuser working. There we go. Let's crank it up, see if we can get the diffuser to even start working. I'm barely starting to see some bubbles come now. We just had to fill the line up, I guess. There we go. We got micro bubbles coming here. Let's zoom in. There we go. Just had to get the line filled up, pressurized. All right, let me turn this down before we gas our fish. Okay, guys, all I got to do is put my timer on here so I can get this set. When this light auto goes to blue, which is indicating that it's going to nighttime, then I will kick this off, essentially, or turn the tank off, the CO2 tank off, and then it'll kick on 1 hour before the lights come on to give the tank a chance to get CO2 in it before the plants are using that CO2 for photosynthesis when the light comes on. Science. Interesting. So I'm going to set this up. I'll be back with a final kind of check on the drop checker and stuff, and an outro for you coming up right now. Okay, our pressure has stabilized here so that we're running, you know, not so crazy of a bubble pattern here. Alright folks, it's the next day here, and our little bass buddy, he's doing pretty good. Gonna be a lot of videos on this guy here, so if you want to follow this here bass, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and you'll know if you do the notification bell when we put up little bass videos. But we're gonna watch him grow over the next couple of years here. But let's finish up this video here with an update on the CO2 system. So I went to bed last night and trusted that everything would work fine, and our timer worked just fine, and it kicked on this morning when it was supposed to. I want to show you here, we're at about, come on camera, focus maybe. Well, it's not going to focus, but we are just over 100 psi in the bottle here on the main. We're working at our standard pressure of 50 here. I increased my bubbles to about 2 bubble per second, just because I am running a 75-gallon tank, and this is a small system designed for, I think, 30 gallons, if I remember the description. Anyway, the link will be in the description for this product if you want, so you can read all the details. But I needed to increase CO2 to get the level that I wanted in this tank, and we have achieved green. So on our indicator here, we are green. We're not quite lime green yet, but we're getting there. But green, or a nice shade of green, is telling me that our plants are going to be happy and we're not gassing the tank. We got good color on our bass here. He's a happy little guy. So everybody's doing good in here, and I'm happy with the system overall. I think it is worth it for the money, and it's kind of fun. Make your own CO2 instead of running to the store and getting it made for you. Now, I don't know if this pressure will keep going up. I'm going to assume not, because we're about, I don't know, 18 hours into it here, and it says it's a 10-hour to get to 430. But again, all in all, I'm happy with the system. I think it's pretty cool. I might have done something wrong with too cold of water or something, didn't get enough reaction to get up to 400 psi. But I have seen other comments on Amazon saying that the systems did not reach the pressure they were supposed to. I don't really care because I'm not a aquascaping professional that needs maximum CO2. I just want to give the plants a little bit of help to fill in this big old tank. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. Hopefully it either cinched in your mind whether you want or don't want this system, or maybe you just had some entertainment watching me put CO2 in the tank. So again, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoy the aquarium stuff or you want to follow the little bass right here, I'm going to have two videos, one here and one here, about the bass and setting up this tank. So maybe you'll enjoy those videos as well. Until then, I will catch you on the next one. Tell the people to subscribe to the channel, buddy. Huh? Tell them to watch your videos coming up. Tell them they'll be able to watch you hunt. We'll take some night shots. It'll be great. Tell them, buddy. Tell them.